What's up guys, NepentheZ here and welcome to a FIFA 18 versus FIFA 19 kind of like early day meta icon squad builder type video. What I've done here is, as you can see by the screen, is I put together what is basically the 11 that people were using, the pros, the content creators, the people that just had a lot of disposable income. Put that 11 together, and we're going to go through that very briefly right here. And then I've put together an 11 that I think we might see from the new cards for next year, or for this current iteration of the game. And then I've put together an 11 of what I think we might see as kind of like the main meta squad and the target squad. Now, what you'll first notice is that I haven't got prime icons in here, and that is because prime icons just weren't out super early. And I've got some players on the bench that are missing. But before we get into the rest of this video, guys, if you want to drop a thumbs up, that would be much appreciated. As soon as the full database is released, hoping in the next day or two, we're going to do a video comparing OP teams of last year compared to what those cards look like this year. We're going to have a look at some OP starter teams that I think might be cheap and usable and effective for specific reasons, in spite of the fact that I'm fully aware that we haven't got the gameplay, so we don't know how it's going to play. This is just based off the small amount of game that I have played at Gamescom and on the beta, and then what we know from past FIFAs, what we've heard about from people that went to the capture event, and so on and so forth. So on the screen, guys, we've got pretty much the meta starting team. Now, this wasn't the formation, that's to be said, and I think one contentious player in here is probably Lothar Matthäus. But when I went through all of the high-end, like top 100 star players and the guys, like I say, the content creators that had like just a lot of money to spend on the game, and just the people in general that had a lot of money to spend on the game, Lothar Matthäus was actually a super popular player in early days. So, of course, David De Gea was the main goalkeeper because of that saves with feet trait. Kyle Walker was definitely one of the top right backs. Antonio Valencia and Aurier for a while right there was one of the top end right backs. The inform week one Antonio Valencia was also quite popular but super expensive because he was super rare. So people kind of stuck with that Kyle Walker. And then Alexandro came in at left back, and that left us with the Maldini and Ferdinand. Now, quite a few people did have the left back Maldini at left back early on, but very quickly switched to putting him at centre back and taking Alexandro at left back. And Rio Ferdinand, you could argue that his baby card was more used than his 88 card, because I think it had a little bit more pace, if I'm correct here. Whoops, we want Ferdinand. Yeah, so his baby card had a little bit more pace, and I think a lot of people did utilise that. So you could argue that it was actually his 85 card that was used here and not his 88 card. But from the very early stages, the ones that I saw were Ferdinand. Vieira and Hullet, a mix of the babies and the mids, were just in everybody's team for pretty much the rest of the year. And they only changed when Prime Icons came out, the Prime Icon versions. R9 Ronaldo was also in people's teams and was pretty much in people's teams until his Prime came out. And even then, a lot of the pro players preferred the 94 than the 96. I don't understand why. Like I say, Lothar Matthäus is a bit of a contentious one because he was in a lot of people's early game squad. But not in the late game squad. Let me get rid of that Rio Ferdinand and put this one back in. We've got an average price right now of as well, about 7 million coins, which isn't too bad, to be fair. Well, if you exclude Bale or Messi, actually about 6.3 million coins. And then up front, the trio of Ronaldo, and Henry just seemed to just dominate. I saw a lot of people use Henry at centre mid quite a lot. A lot of the pros that did use a 4-3-2-1 or the 4-3-3, which there were some. I know Mo Aubameyang used a 4-3-3 formation throughout some of the year. A lot of people did use Henry on one side and Ronaldo on one side with Ronaldo in the middle. But I think the duo of Ronaldo and Ronaldo up top was just dominant, just absolutely dominant, and is almost an unbreakable bond up there because of how good they were compared to all the available cards that were underneath them. There was really not many players that just kept up to scratch. The only difference is that we could argue that we saw is that I did see a lot of Lionel Messi's there instead of Thierry Henry's. I did see a lot of this. Alternatively, I saw a lot of Henry's at centre mid. And no Lothar Matthäus's, or we saw a fair bit of Gareth Bale instead of Lionel Messi. And again, whether or not the person went into a 4-2-3-1 with Hullet and Vieira at CDMs, Henry Mateus, Messi, whoever it was in at cam, and then Ronaldo and Bale as the outside cams, or Ronaldo and Messi as the outside cams, and then R9 up front. This was kind of like the 11 that we saw. And so when building the next 11, I didn't want to utilize any of the same players. And so this is what I came up with. And as we go into this 11, first things first, I've picked one of the new formations as well. I have a sneaky feeling, and I might be well wrong, but I have a sneaky feeling that the new formations are going to be very strong, at least early on, just as people are not used to them and they're going to have to adapt. The other thing to note is that, of course, this is just full of the new players that we've seen in the game, or players that we didn't see last year in the meta. We'll go through that in just a second. But let me know as well, guys, which team do you prefer of the two that we've looked at? The first FIFA 18 team that we just took a look at, or this potential FIFA 19 overpowered team that we're looking at here. And so we start in goal with Ter Stegen. Of course, he has saves with feet trait, which is a big plus. He's been upgraded. He has got generally remarkable stats. And now that we're going to see the boost and the impact that chem styles give on goalkeepers and how their in-game stats interact with that, I think he might be one of the new go-to guys. He'll be a bit cheaper than David De Gea because he's a little bit lower rated. I don't know what Neuer's going to be this year after taking a year out with injury. He might be down at a 90 as well, maybe a 91. So Ter Stegen's going to be there as our goalkeeper. And then in at right back, I've gone for Javier Zanetti. Now, we will probably not see icons at right back and left back. It maybe not at all, and maybe not very early on. And the reason being is because they're just generally wasted. They're just generally, at this early stage in the game, far too expensive for far little return compared to what you can get out of a Kyle Walker, an Antonio Valencia, an Aurier, a Florenzi, whoever you may see at the right back slot. So I have put Zanetti in there just because I don't have a full database yet, so I couldn't pick anyone else that I thought might go down there. But Zanetti would be good. His prime icon card in FIFA 18 actually turned out to be one of my favourite right backs in the game. I thought he was amazing. I know a lot of people didn't like him because he had a few like iffy stats. His jumping was really low. His shooting is obviously quite low. But for me personally, I thoroughly enjoyed Zanetti. And then Cannavaro and Campbell are a couple of absolutely monstrous cards. Now for Sol Campbell, where's my bench on this one? No bench on this one? There we go. For Sol Campbell, we could potentially see either version of Sol Campbell because he has got an 85 rated card, quite like Rio Ferdinand, that is a little bit faster than the middle one, but has 2 less defending and 2 less physical. So I personally think that this year people will go for the middle amount of pace and the good defending and physical instead of the little bit of extra pace and a little worse defending and physical. But it might be another one where we see an interchange between the 87 Campbell and the 85 Campbell. And then Cannavaro, based on previous years, one of his biggest concerns is that he's really little. He's just small as far as a centre-back goes. I used a fair few small centre-backs last year. As Pilaqueta's not the tallest, Nacho is not the tallest, Sergio Ramos, to a degree, at 6 foot is not the tallest. Cannavaro, I believe, is somewhere in that sort of like 5'9" sort of area. Maybe 5'10", I'm not entirely sure off the top of my head. But he's got great stats, really high dribbling for a centre-back. We'll be interested to see his in-game stats. And of course, this is just me theorising, right? We don't have any facts or figures or anything like that right now. 82 pace, 90 defending. So with that Campbell-Cannavaro centre-back pairing, you could have 2 more brand new, absolutely insane defenders that we could see absolutely dumped into people's squads. And then at left back, I think we're actually going to see a lot of Marcelo this year, even though he's a lot slower than Alexandro. He has got 5-star skill moves and 4-star weak foot. 5-star skill moves, 4-star weak foot, and he's incredibly well-rounded with good defending, good physical, good passing, great dribbling, good shooting, and of course decent pace. So we could see him there. Into the midfield, you've got. I've personally picked Gerrard and Ballack, but this is another contentious one because we could see Roy Keane, we could see Juan Sebastian Veron. Veron's got a really nicely well-rounded card. His skill moves and weak foot will probably dictate whether or not we see him used quite a lot. But if you do apply a Shadow Chem style to him and bolster that pace and defensive stats, he's going to be a really, really good player. The same can be said for Keane. You know, his shooting not the best, his dribbling not the best, but as an enforcer, if you're playing a 4-2-3-1 or 4-1-2-1-2 and you've actually got CDMs, Roy Keane with great work rates, nice and tall, very strong, very aggressive. He could potentially be in people's teams, but I've actually picked Gerrard and Ballack. The reason why is because when you compare Ballack to Veron, they got like very similar looking stats, except Ballack has 4 more pace, he has 3 more defending, he has 6 more physical, same passing, 4 more shooting, and only 1 less dribbling compared to Juan Sebastian Veron. And you'll notice I don't have Frank Lampard here. His stats just don't compare for his middle card or his baby card to some of these guys. So, Gerrard obviously good pace, great shooting, passing, good dribbling, a really, really well-rounded card. You know, this is one to rival that of the baby Hullet and potentially even the baby Vieira. Vieira obviously has insane defending and physical, quite like Keane actually. But I think we'll see a good partnership in there between Gerrard and Ballack. And what I absolutely love, and it will be this is kind of like where we'll ask a question of you guys right at the end of this video. But what I love is that there are so many options now. Icons alone, forget regular goal cards. There are so many options from each position for icons, with exception of fullbacks, that I don't know how the pros are going to dictate who's the best and which one plays the best. Whether or not they have disagreements and we start seeing more and more squads, or whether or not we're just going to go back to seeing the same FIFA 18 meta icon squad with Cristiano Ronaldo. Up front, I've got that Stoichkov in at left wing. That Stoichkov card looks phenomenal. It is better than Thierry Henry's left wing card that's also 90 rated. If you look at Henry's card, let's pick him up. Henry. So Henry's left wing has 90 pace, as does Stoichkov. 87 dribbling, which is less than Stoichkov. 77 physical, which is less than Stoichkov. And then his shooting and passing is also less than Stoichkov. So Stoichkov could potentially have one of the most overpowered cards in the game. And again, you know, he's up there with Henry, with Ronaldinho. I can't remember off the top of my head the other icon left wings we've got. There aren't actually that many left wings, are there? But yeah, there's not many. There's not many people that are going to be better than him. And then on the right hand side, I've gone for George Best. Again, great card, very similar to Stoichkov in many regards. Pace, shooting, the same. A little extra dribbling. Of course, we expect 5-star skill moves for Best. A fan favourite from back in FIFA 16, maybe even FIFA 17, I can't remember off the top of my head, wasn't around in FIFA 18 and now is back. So I think we're going to see Best, I think we're going to see Stoichkov out of all of the others. And again, I did put Figo on the bench because I think we could potentially see Luis Figo into these teams. We could potentially see Figo instead of Best. Figo might just be a lot cheaper than Best because Best is desirable. He's got hype about him. I think what you'll see is that Best, even though they're very similar in terms of their card stature, same pace, I think Figo has a bit more passing, a bit more physical, a little less shooting, a little less dribbling. So, they both have their pros and cons, but I think Figo will probably be a little lower of a player compared to Best in terms of value. And then up front, I've gone for Cruyff and Eusebio, and I think Eusebio, I'm really interested to see how he compares with Ronaldo in the new FIFA. Eusebio has more pace than Ronaldo by 3, the same shooting, more passing by some distance, the same dribbling, more defending. The only thing that Ronaldo beats Eusebio on, and this is Eusebio's 91, it's not even his prime card, is that Ronaldo has a little more physical. And of course we know that Ronaldo has that custom body type. He gets a lot of benefits for those sort of things. He seems to just play different in FIFA compared to other cards that would have identical stats. So this is a squad that I kind of put together that I think we might see as a new age early day icon meta squad. Again, none of the prime icons are in here. This is all the mids and some babies. I think most of it is the mids for these icons. But this is quite an absolute insane squad. And when I picked the best of the bunch from each team, this is what I came up with. So what I want to ask before I get into my picks and why I picked what I picked is, what would your early game dream team be? Because essentially this is a dream team. It's not the end game dream team because of the prime icons, because of team of the years, because of SBCs, team of the season. But for an early game, okay, I want to start working towards these players. What is it for you? Who would you pick and why? And this is what I've picked. I've picked Kyle Walker in for right back. I've picked David De Gea in for goalkeeper. I think that they're just constantly and have consistently been two of the best and most used players for some years in FIFA. There's been very few right backs to rival Kyle Walker over the years. I also think we're going to see Marcelo at left back a lot more than people might think, just because of that lack of pace. I know Alexandra, of course, is going to have he's going to have two benefits. He's faster, and he links to Ronaldo. So you can obviously put Ronaldo as a centre mid if he comes as a striker and connect him to the Calcio A and that Alexandro. But I think the 4-star, 5-star of Marcelo is really going to tip him in people's favour to go on that left back. In terms of the two centre backs, I've picked Maldini because I just think he's absolutely ridiculous. He's massive. He's got great stats. He's fast, perfect defending. He can pass. And then I've also picked Sol Campbell. I know we could potentially have Rio Ferdinand here. Cannavaro could go here. You could even see the likes of Manolas here. Sergio Ramos could be here. But I think Sol Campbell might be I genuinely think it might be a go-to guy for some of the pro players and the content creators this year, because his card just looks fantastic. In the midfield, I can't see anyone out of Gerrard, Lampard, Ballack, Veron, Roy Keane, Makalele, an absolute load of brand new CDM centre mid options. I don't think any of them are going to dislodge the partnership that is Vieira and Hullet. We already have Frank Rijkaard, Lothar Matthäus, Emmanuel Petit, and they don't even get close to Vieira and Hullet. You know, Vieira is insanely fast with great dribbling, great defending, and great physicals. And Ruud Hullet, because of his height, his 5-star weak foot, and his incredibly well-rounded stats, just comes in at one of the best players in the game from day one until his prime icon is released. So I don't think we're going to see much change there. Up front, relatively contentious. I do think we are going to see Stoichkov over Henry because he's got better stats. We'll have to see how he looks with his weak foot and skill moves. We'll have to see how his height is, how his stamina is, composure, that kind of thing, what his traits are, because one of the big things for Henry, one of the reasons why he was so overused last year was because he had 4-star, 4-star, he was fast as hell, and he had traits that were brilliant. He could take amazing finesse shots. His low drivens were great because of his composure. He was just generally good. But I think we're going to see Stoichkov. I don't think Ronaldo, R9 Ronaldo, is going to get dislodged because of the 5-star, 5-star, or the 5-star, 4-star, depending on which one, or the 4-star, 4-star, depending on which one you have. I think this 94 Ronaldo is still going to be the go-to guy. You know, that pace, that dribbling, and that shooting is just too hard to turn down with really good physicals. I definitely think George Best is going to be in the right-hand side. He's going to take out Lionel Messi, Cristiano Ronaldo, or Thierry Henry if they played them out on the right side, and George Best. And then I think Eusebio might beat out Ronaldo. I think because of what we looked at before, because of the fact that Eusebio has got more pace, the same dribbling, the same shooting, more passing, which would be better for reactions, ball control on dribbling, of course, and then for passing, it would be better for curve and vision, which obviously are relatively important. Maybe we'll have better free kicks as well. And although his physical is a little lower, I think Eusebio just might be the guy. So in my mind, I've got this as this is the meta squad, because no matter what formation you play, even if you switch into the 4-2-3-1, you can play Ronaldo up front, Best and Stoichkov out wide, Eusebio in at cam, or even Stoichkov in at cam and Eusebio out on the wing. If you play the 4-4-2 flat, you can just drop Stoichkov and Best down. If you play the 4-1-2-1-2 narrow, you drop Vieira into CDM, you pop Hullet, and then you could pick from either Eusebio or Stoichkov for the other centre mid. Now, of course, they don't have great defensive qualities, but they have very high passing qualities and decent physicals. As using him as a creative centre mid, they could be useful. And then you'll just put, one of the three in at cam, and then the other two up front. So this is what I personally think the team is going to look like. What do you guys think the team is going to look like? Let me know in the comment section below what your kind of day one dream team would be. with all the players there, and it'll be good to look at those. But this, guys, is going to be the end of the video for today. If you did enjoy it, be sure to leave a like, rating, comment, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. But for now, guys, I'm out. Peace.